Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another installment of Coffee Chats. I'm so excited to be here. Mackenzie isn't able to be with us right now today, but she'll be returning next week. So I am joined by a face you should be familiar with by now on this channel, the incredible Zara Miller. Hello,
Hey all.
Zara.
Hi, I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. We're so excited to have you in particular as we host our incredible guest for today. Um, so without further ado, dramatic drum roll, please. Dun, 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 dun. Hi, Sinem. How
Hey
are
guys,
you?
I'm
Hello.
good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're so excited to have you. Do you have anything that you want to share with our audience before we kick into high gear here and ask you a whole bunch of questions?
I don't. I'm excited to chat and share some of the ideas that I've gathered over the last few years.
Well, excellent. I mean, just at the outset of our conversation, we want to establish that Sinem knows a thing or two about Medium. So she's the perfect person to ask about Medium and how to navigate it. I'm especially excited to learn more about your journey as to how you came to dominate Medium as a platform and how you empower other authors and other writers and creators to do the same. So, for our opening question, why is Medium such a great place for authors and writers to build their platform?
Yeah, great. Favorite question of mine, obviously, because Medium is the place I didn't only start to write, but I started to create content. And one of the reasons is looking back, one of the main reasons is that Medium doesn't only allow, but actually empowers you to build your audience in a way that you really also own your audience. Because under each post you publish there, you're allowed to have a call to action, which does not negatively affect your reach, which is kind of, it matters because on a platform like LinkedIn or Twitter, you can't just put a link on the post and expect it to do just like any other post without a call to action. So speaking high level, I believe this is it. But apart from that, Medium is powerful because it is just for writing and reading. You don't have any distractions with other forms of media. For a lot of writers, that's a huge relief because I've talked to thousands of writers over the last couple of years. I know many of them feel comfortable writing, but they don't feel comfortable sharing their face or speaking on video, or they want to create graphics or infographics or whatever to be on other platforms. And in Medium, you can really just write, and that's more than enough. That's all they're looking for. The design and layout of the entire platform is incredibly simple, and it's basically black and white. You can't really mess anything up with the design of your post or your profile. I mean, you can. They have introduced a few features, and you can have like a completely pink profile and stuff, but you shouldn't. Like, keep it simple. Go with the very, very simple medium known design of black, white, not many distractions, because that's what the audience is there for. Like, they don't look for exceptional design. They're there for the ideas, for a great reader experience on the platform. And that's what a lot of writers want too. Like, we want to communicate our message in a simple and not distraction free way. And that's what Medium enables us to do, because it's ad free, so you also don't get a lot of like banners and random ads inside your stories. So the experience for both sides, writers and readers, is just great.
You know what? I think this might be one of the most important pieces of information I've ever heard about writing on Medium specifically, because it's kind of a paradox if you think about it. This is the age of extreme. Everyone is looking to be exceptional. Everyone wants to stand out. Everyone needs to scream in order to be heard. And then there's Medium, where you can just be simple. You can just be whatever, and whatever is not necessarily bad, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, in Medium's case, of course, you still need to stand out in a way that your headlines need to be whether you call it
in a
click-worthy
different way.
or but it's you're right in a way that it is not that kind of, you know, screaming in terms of being flashy and you know, dancing on TikTok kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you for saying that for me. I don't want to be a jerk and say it.
Yeah, no, but that's it, you know, because I mean, maybe for those who are watching and who are not familiar with Medium at all, Medium basically has a membership, a paid membership where you need to pay $5 per month in order to access all the content. Now, obviously, this is a barrier for a lot of people. So those who do pay to get access to content, while we have access to so much free content on the internet, those are people who do want that distraction and ad-free experience. And those are the people you primarily want to reach on Medium. I mean, the other great advantage of Medium is that Medium has an exceptionally high domain authority. Medium is trusted by Google, which means even if you are not familiar with SEO, you have a very high chance to rank on Google. I mean, obviously, having some knowledge is beneficial, and knowing what you do is always a great help. But if you have some basic knowledge in SEO, having articles ranked through Medium will be a whole lot easier than if you start a brand new website and try to gain Google's trust. So no matter if you're looking to tap into the existing audience, which comes with advantages like earning through Medium's integrated partner program, or you are just looking, or you have, you know, a very specific niche topic and you believe that your core audience or your target audience is doing a lot of Google search and you want to pop in there to answer their questions. Again, Medium is a great place to start, because you can start with very basic SEO knowledge and your stories can basically rank from day one without having that, you know, building up phase where you would need to spend at least a couple of months if you start with a brand new site in order to get trust from search engines, basically.
Right. Well, Sinem, I mean, you have exceptional knowledge of Medium. I think that has been established. But more importantly, more importantly, we are interested in you as a person. Obviously, right now you're a well-known creator, very very famous on Medium. I don't think that's an overstatement. So my question for you specifically is, when did you start writing on Medium? And just give us background. Give us background. I want to hear everything.
I started to write on Medium back in 2018. And I wrote on the side, besides lots of other projects, for 1.5 years. I didn't really see much traction, but it was the first place I ever created content. I was making some money. I was seeing some growth in my audience, and that kind of kept me going, even though it was not, you know, I didn't have any tangible business or monetary goals. It was really just a random side project that I just enjoyed doing. And very cliche, towards the end of 2019, I was in that period in my life where I was doing a lot of things, like a lot of, you know, entrepreneurial side hustle projects. But then I also had just finished a full-term internship at a huge corporate, and I knew I didn't want to go back to a corporate job. And I was in that period where I asked myself, okay, what do I really want to do? And I figured out that Medium was something I really enjoyed, even though I didn't have it figured out yet. And I had this cliche New Year's resolution of writing every day, for at least a month in the beginning of 2020. So that was really January 1st I started, and I think I published more than 30 articles in that month. But I really didn't do anything else. Like, some people get afraid when I say I published that much. I don't publish a lot these days. Like, I had a lot of months this year, for example, where I published like 1 or 2 pieces, but I knew I wanted to make it work, and I didn't know how other than just giving it a try. So I really just ignored anything else, and I just wrote for an entire month. And at the end of that month, I mean, I didn't just wrote, I wrote, and the other time I had was basically spent on learning and analyzing all the other writers who had already done it before. And that really kind of worked. And by the end of the first month, I had a great audience already established. I was making great money. By the end of the second month, my numbers went through the roof, and I was one of the people who kind of benefited from all the lockdowns and the pandemic in a business way, because I was already talking to a bunch of people and telling them that I was writing on Medium. And then when those lockdowns came up, even just local communities here in Austria, they to ask me if I wanted to host webinars and workshops for people to teach how to write from home, because suddenly people had so much time at their hands.
Yeah, they needed to do something, right?
Yeah, and I did that, and then more and more questions came in, and I realized that this information is really valuable, and that I wanted to help other people to become writers and do that on the side. And that's how we developed an entire coaching program. And even before that, we had created a Facebook community, but we never really nurtured it. And then suddenly so many people started to join that we realized, okay, this is a great place to start. And over the last 2.5 years, that community has grown to almost 10,000 members. And we've done great stuff, like, interviewing pretty much all big writers on the platform. We had the Medium CEO on interviews this year.
I saw that, and Justin Cox as well. Yeah, I attended that.
Yeah, exactly.
That was great. I love that.
And for me, it was great. It is such a pleasure to be able to do those things, because when I started back in 2018, none of that existed. And obviously now I'm not the only one doing that. Yeah. I have a colleague, Zuli Rain, you might know her, who has the biggest channel on YouTube when it comes to, writing on Medium.
Yeah.
She's doing great stuff too, but she also started later. Like when I started, or when Zuli started, we didn't have access to these resources. We didn't have access to communities like this one.
Yeah.
Because it was just, Medium was too new back then, or
and
too
that was
small.
Just 4 years ago. Like how it flies, right? And like you're talking about the timeline, and I'm just thinking, God, but that was
it's not too much time. Yeah,
it was just like 4 years ago. It's not. It hasn't been that long. But yeah, totally.
Yeah. I think that's kind of this weird thing about social platforms. When also with Medium, like ever since I joined, there's been this conversation of people being afraid that they are too late. Like I joined in 2018, and back then there's been articles saying it's too late to join Medium. The big days are over. The platform is slowly dying. And now, 4 years later, still the exact same conversation. People are saying Medium is dying. The big golden era is over and stuff. And when you look at it, it's funny because nobody really wants to invest in a platform that isn't promising yet. Like if a platform is brand new and they're just starting out and they're looking for creators, and there are so many of those. Like I get LinkedIn requests and emails and stuff from people saying, hey, we are building this new platform of writers, or this new social network, blah, blah, blah. Like all the time, everyone wants to build something that is better than what already exists. But then do you really want to go and invest your time in something that could be a complete failure, that could be a complete waste of time? You don't. You want to go on a platform that is already kind of established.
Yeah.
But then when you go, there are a lot of people complain about growing not being easy. And I think that's on one side, it's a misconception. On the other side, there's a problem with expectations, because if you go on a platform that is already established and trusted by a lot of people, you have the advantage of, knowing that you're in a credible place that is not going to go away in the next couple of weeks. But on the other side, of course, you do have competition, and you can't just expect to publish a few stories and reach thousands of people. You have to earn that trust, and you need to kind of start slowly. You're gonna show up, nobody's gonna know your name, and then you grow from there. story by story. And I think it's the same on any platform.
Right. I mean, what you're saying actually feeds beautifully into the next question that we have, because you're right. I think that sometimes people are sort of tantalized by the newness of something. They're like, I'm going to be a pioneer on this platform that no one's heard of before because Medium or other platforms are too saturated. But
Yeah.
that's not necessarily the case. People just sort of need to be patient, right? This is based on what you're saying now. So, what are some habits that authors should adopt if not only they eventually want to establish themselves on Medium, but also maybe even make income from it? Like, how long should they persist? What are some of the things that they should do?
I think this is not just Medium, but in general. First of all, any routine that you build, it should be a routine that you can keep up for years. Like there's so many people giving that advice of, write and publish daily or publish as much as you can. And I mean, I have colleagues who are publishing on Medium, like, I don't know, an average of 10 posts per week. And I'm always, I'm in A because I wouldn't be able to do that now with an established business and without, having that pressure of having to write every day. And I think that's not a realistic expectation. And I like to ask myself, okay, what's a routine that I am able to keep up with, not just for a couple of, days or weeks, but kind of forever, because writing is a forever game. Like there is no end to it. If you aim to be a writer, you're going to write. There is no end to it. At least not an end that we can.
It's a passion,
see.
yeah. It's a passion, definitely.
So what's the routine that you can keep up with? And that comes with, how do you gather your ideas? And I think that's not just for Medium, but constantly being in a state of seeking inspiration or being inspired even by stuff that other people don't even recognize. And I think that's no matter where you write, even if you write a newsletter, if you write emails, you have to be in that constant state of exploring and being curious, so you can come up with fresh ideas based on your own point of view and based on your own perspective and the way you experience the world. And obviously you have to write, but I think that's part of what people underestimate. Like, you cannot show up on any platform, create a few pieces of content, and then expect any kind of result. On Medium, things are exactly like on any other social platform. There are people who go viral with their first post and reach like tens of thousands of people. And then there are people who write for a year and don't reach many people at all. It's always a combination of knowing what you do, being specific in your message and having this message that is actually attractive to enough people, doing it consistently, understanding the platform, kind of having an understanding for, I would say, human behavior and the basics of marketing. That's part of what a lot of writers don't want to do, because they don't want to get into the marketing and sales part of it. But at the end of the day, even though you're not selling something, you are selling each of your stories there, and you have to get into the mind of your reader and into understanding, okay, what is it going to be that makes a reader click on that story, that makes them want to read one more sentence and keep going until the very end. I believe that's a different kind of writing than a lot of people have been used to when they wrote in academia or when writing books. You have a totally different landscape here. Even though Medium's audience is full of very passionate readers, you have to reconvince them over and over again to click on an article, to read the intro, to read the next paragraph, and so on. And this is a constant cycle of learning. Like, there is no end. You can study, marketing, sales, human behavior, virality, and all those topics forever, and you're probably always going to find fresh insights. And I believe the moment you stop and you believe you are good enough is probably the moment you will start to, well, at least not grow anymore. I don't know if that's a reason for a decline in your audience, but I think this is kind of the expectation that I would have, not just from writers, but any creator, like constantly trying to understand humans and the humans that you want to reach.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is incredibly important. And apart from that, to be honest, a really hard pill to swallow, because I think it's very human and very normal for all of us to yearn for a magic wand that's going to come into our lives and just fix everything, and everything suddenly would be better. And there's no such thing. So I really appreciate you saying that there's no key ingredients. It's kind of a combination of consistency, your passion, your habits, and all of that. And in a digital era of everything is available right now, Amazon Prime, Amazon Today, Amazon right now, I think that maybe we have lost touch with building something that lasts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in that sphere and in that fashion, when it comes to actual writing, because you've talked plenty about consistency and passion, but when it comes to actual writing, because you are a writer, very good one in my opinion, do you think that it's better to specialize in a specific topic or to cultivate a distinct writing voice? So should we focus on the audience on ourselves, essentially?
I mean, ideally, it's going to be a combination of both, right? What's funny about Medium is there are great examples of both. There are writers who write very personal stories and share incredibly vulnerable personal stories. And there are writers who are extremely technical, who don't share anything personal at all, but only stay very, research focused, actionable, and detailed in teaching you how to do something or how to think in a new way.
Oh yeah, how to articles.
I mean, not just the title can sometimes be confusing, I guess. A how-to article can also be very personal depending on what you're talking about. A great example for the not so personal stories is one of the first people to ever write like self-help on Medium was Benjamin Hardy. He has grown on Medium, has gone on to write, best-selling books and has built his entire audience by starting on Medium. And he has never shared anything personal as far as I know. Like, he's been very how-to oriented. And then there are other people who have done the opposite and succeeded as well.
Benji was Mark Manson before Mark Manson was Mark Manson.
And that's interesting. I mean, if ideally you will have a combination, because your voice is always going to be what distinguishes you from others. But on the other side, being specializing in one topic is so hard for so many writers, because I think that's kind of a natural characteristic of writers, is that they are curious and they are kind of multi-passionate.
Eternal seekers, we call ourselves.
And that's also what I see with a lot of my community members and students. Like, they want to write about everything they're interested in. The problem I see with writing about everything is that it becomes really hard when you want to turn that into a business. Like, if we talk money and you're doing this full time, you'll suddenly find yourself. The problem is you will suddenly find yourself trying to turn all of your passions into, your writing content. And trying to look at it from that angle. And I think that there is this advice of, do what you love and turn your passion into a business. But then I think that can also be kind of a toxic piece of advice, because we also need to have things in our life that we just love, that we don't do for the money, and that are not related to the money side at all. And that's why I think, being specific and saying, okay, this is what my writing is about. This is what my writing helps my audience do, or helps my audience, figure out in their lives. I believe this is kind of a way to set your own boundaries too. When you say you are going to write about one topic or one genre, one category, and you are deeply passionate about 10 other topics, but that's not your writing business. And you can still write, for yourself, or even for your community, but then don't look at these other types of writing as your writing business. Let the business be the business,
essentially.
Because I have so many people, or many of my students, asking me, okay, I have this core niche, but what if I want to write about something else too? And I religiously track the time I spent writing. Like, I have a very basic time tracker on my app, on my phone, and I kind of always track the different projects that I work on. And if I would, I have different topics that I write about, but they all lead to different email lists, to newsletters, to certain funnels. They all have a business purpose. If I would now write a story about a random topic, that wouldn't be, I wouldn't track that as my work time, because it's not going to have any tangible result or any tangible impact on my business. That would just be pure passion writing. And for me, that's incredibly important to make a distinction there, because if I end up writing 5 such passion stories each week, and I spend the majority of my time on those, I might end up with way less time to work on my business, with a lower income, and potentially struggling. And that's where you want to be careful. That's how that's the answer I give my students when they ask, okay, but can I also write about something else? I'm like, write about whatever you want, but don't look at that kind of writing as your business writing. Because if you want this to be a full-time business and you want to pay your bills through your writing, be very strict in how you separate work time from the rest of your life.
Recreational writing.
Compartmentalizing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's so easy, you're writing from home in your pajamas, you're enjoying it, having a great time. And that sounds like the dream, but it's so easy to get sucked up into a routine where you end up working or writing all the time. And no matter how much you love writing, if that's how you make money, it becomes a burden. And
because
those are obviously mistakes that I made so that I learned these lessons. But when you're new and you're getting excited, you're seeing some progress, you believe that it's always going to be fun and you could do this forever, and it's never going to feel like a boring or hard job. But it does. But at some point, you also want to be able to say, okay, the job is done. Now I'm going to enjoy my life.
Yeah, because when it becomes a job, it's no longer a hobby and you start to hate it. Like, you have to compartmentalize, and it's easier for people whose hobbies do not coincide with what they do at work. They're like you said, okay, work is done. Let me go and have a drink with my friends, So
right. Or write a random poem if that's not what you're usually writing for your writing business. Just compartmentalization so you can still derive joy from something. I actually have a surprise follow-up question that still connects to this one. So particularly when it comes to like building an audience and like cultivating a writing voice. So I know that on Medium, and this is actually something that still I find fascinating because I don't know very much about it, is on Medium, there are, as you know, obviously, there are publications. So I guess the question sort of is it better to try to establish your own presence first, or is collaborating with Medium publications a strong way to expand your personal audience?
The thing about publications is, even if you collaborate with publications, the story is always live under your name on your profile too. So it's not really, it's kind of an addition to your own profile and your own presence anyway, and you don't have much to lose. If there are publications that are already operating in the niche that you want to serve, they are still a great way to kind of get access to an audience that's already there.
Yeah,
One huge topic on Medium is self-improvement. There are so many huge self-improvement publications. If you get to collaborate with them, what you're doing is essentially you're trying to get your work in front of people who are already following the topic and the publication that they already trust. There's really no harm in doing that. Publications used to be a little bit more powerful in the past, but those who are still active are still, like, it's still the go-to strategy that I would use as a beginner. If there is a publication in your niche and they are active and they don't look like scammy or weird and they seem to publish high quality writing, try to get in touch and get published with them, because you really have nothing to lose and the content is still yours. Like, you can put it off the publication anytime if anything happens. Really only comes with the advantage of possibly having access to their audience, because they might also promote your article in their newsletter, on their social channels and stuff. You really have nothing to lose.
Yeah, I would agree. It can only help. It can only expand on your either existing audience or help you grow, like get your content in front of people that you would normally not have access to. So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, very much the same.
So as a follow-up question, it's interesting how what you said kind of ties over into this next question pretty well. So you were sort of talking about earlier on in our discussion, how you were able to funnel, like, for your writing business, use what you're writing on Medium to funnel over into newsletters, right? And that's very intentional on your part. So on the one hand, you're using Medium to funnel people to other platforms, but for people who have presences on other platforms and not Medium yet, how do you get them there? Honestly, either direction would be helpful, but particularly if you're trying to build up on Medium, like, what do you do to bring them over to read?
Yeah. I mean, the most common way to do that is by letting them read your stories on Medium.
Mm-hmm.
This would depend on whether you are publishing them somewhere else too. Like, you can have your own website, your own blog too. Some people prefer to always link to their own blogs instead of Medium. It's a personal and strategic choice at the end of the day. But even if you are part of Medium's partner program, you can let Medium generate a unique link through which everyone, even if they're not a member of the platform, even if they don't have an account, can read your whole story. And that's the way to do it. If you have, let's say you have an audience on Instagram and you have a long form article written, and then you kind of give a snippet or you give the intro away in an Instagram post, in an Insta story or whatever, you can link back to the full article and have them go visit your story on Medium. That's the most straightforward way to do it if you have an existing audience. Obviously also with newsletter content, like if you have an email list, an existing one, send your story and let them know that you are on Medium, that you have a profile there, and that you are publishing content.
Right. This is kind of an off-the-cuff question, but I've been wondering, have you, as an expert, have you noticed any significant changes ever since Tony took over Medium? Like, what's the biggest innovation that he has brought to the platform?
There's been a couple of changes to small, I would consider small changes of features and stuff.
Right.
I don't think the period has been long enough right now in order to make huge shifts yet. I believe the small changes that happened over the last 3 to 5 months have already been in progress before he took over. I believe that we're gonna see the direction that he's heading in the months to come. I think it's not even been half a year, probably a lot less than half a year since he took over. I think that's not enough of a time to see what direction he's heading, or whether he is already making like profound changes. What you can obviously see when through the interviews that I had with him or others had, is that he wants to, is actually two key things that I learned. Is that one thing that he wants to empower kind of expert writing. They want to increase the quality of the content on the platform. This is kind of one of the main problems Medium is facing, that there are a lot of people churning out content, which is not being moderated, kind of filling the platform up. And Medium right now, Medium's algorithm is still allowing these pieces to reach readers, which is kind of a downward spiral, because if you're paying for a platform and for content, you don't want to end up with content that is very low quality, either in the writing, in formatting, typos.
It's like, why am I subscribing to New York Times to read crappy stories? Like, I'm subscribing to read good content. No, I appreciate it. I also appreciate how chill you are about this, because like before, like just before the period when he took over, like even when it was announced, like the internet was freaking out for some reason. I'm like, why? This is so weird. Why is everybody I guess Medium is a large enough platform that, similarly, like when Elon Musk bought Twitter, everyone is like, Jesus.
I think that's just kind of an internet thing. Something happens, people are waiting for stuff like that to happen, to make like negative predictions and to expect the worst thing to happen. But at the end of the day, I mean, anything could happen, to any platform. But there was this crazy expectation of, oh my God, there's a new CEO, everything is going to change.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't think.
And he's like so chill about everything. I love how normal he is, and just how rationally he approaches running Medium, and like you said, like slowly implementing the changes, and most of them towards curating the content so the platform would not become flooded. And it's just I need to hear your opinion on this. I'm sorry about like sort of directing this interview in a different way, but I just need to hear it because it's so funny to me. It's hilarious.
I think I'm into the Medium community, so that's what I see. But it's with every change they ever announce, or they announced since I've been part of the community, it's been the same of people believing this is going to make a huge difference. Yes. And Medium did make some big changes over the years. Obviously, the way their partner program works has changed. They introduced new features that can have a profound impact on the way you reach your audience or on the way you make money. But at the end of the day, it's also with Instagram, with YouTube. This is the nature of being online and using an online platform that is owned and operated by someone else. I think you just have to be aware of that, make peace with it, and then use these channels. If you have a business intention and you want to write full-time or create online full-time, use these channels in order to build your own thing, but don't rely on someone else's channel to be your business or to be your place for earning your income, or earning your business, or earning your audience.
Facts.
Big facts.
Well, I mean, I've learned a lot today from you. I still have so many questions about Medium, and I know that you're actually very much an expert in guiding people and learning more about Medium. So everybody, please follow Sinem if you want to learn more about Medium, because I know I do. But with all of that being said, do you have any final words of wisdom do you want to impart on our audience today? Because you shared so many like gems already.
Yes.
I mean, get started. You have nothing to lose. If you are already writing, maybe you already have blog posts, articles lying somewhere, just create your account and start posting. Medium is super easy to join. You'll have everything figured out relatively quickly because
User friendly.
yeah, it's user friendly. The entire interface is created to be simple for writers to use as well.
For idiots. Say it with your chest. I'm kidding.
I think.
No, I appreciated that. Listen, my 56-year-old mom could join Medium and she would be fine. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I appreciate about Medium. It is very user friendly. You cannot deny it.
Yeah, it is, especially if you compare it to the option of starting your own blog, which
building a website. Like what? Yeah.
That I think that's it. Like join as soon as you can. I mean, you'll have everything figured out in a couple of hours in terms of having your story live.
Right.
Yeah, feel free to join my community over on Facebook if you want to chat with other Medium writers. We have a wonderful community that is really supportive. It's called Medium Writing Academy. It's a Facebook group. If you have any questions, just reach out there, and I'll be happy to share any insights or any supportive materials that we've created over the last couple of years. But that's it. There's really not much magic in starting. If you enjoy writing and reading, I believe you'll love the community over there, and the experience will be equally powerful because it is so simple and not distractive.
I can attest to that. Yes, I can attest to that. I'm a part of Sinem's community, and it's very supportive.
Oh, that's so wholesome. Well, Sinem, it was just an absolute privilege to have you today. I mean, again, I learned so much, and it's not that I'm not on Medium at all. It's just that there's so much I feel like I don't know, and I'm just like afraid to put myself out there. But now I feel more emboldened to at least try, especially when I know that it could be such a supportive space. And earlier on, we were talking about like it being more distraction free versus other platforms that are very much like they get their money from ads, like that kind of
thing. Instagram.
It's definitely like very encouraging, and I think that a lot of people who are at one-on-one, very basic understanding of Medium or never heard it before will really glean so much from your wisdom. So
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're also just really cool.
Very cool.
Well, thank you.
It was a pleasure. I hope this is inspiring at least a few people to give it a try, because I always think of it in terms of I wish I had learned about the platform earlier. So
I wish someone had told me that this was bussin'.
Yeah. Some people kind of expect a platform to magically solve all their problems, or to be that one place where they go and suddenly make their income or suddenly have access to an untapped audience. That's not it. I mean, all of it takes an effort, and all of it takes time, a lot of persistence and consistency. But for writers who are interested in writing blog posts and growing their audience, building an email newsletter, and just having that ongoing conversation and showing up consistently, I believe this is a powerful opportunity and should at least be tried by everyone who enjoys writing online.
And we are eternally grateful that you are here to guide us through it.
Thank you so much, Sinem. Have a wonderful one.
Bye-bye.
All right, beautiful people. That was another wonderful coffee chats in the books. I'm telling you, I learned so much today.
Oh, yeah.
I learned so much.
She's queen.
For those of you, so ultimately, for those of you who have been watching and hanging out with us for a while, and you have anything that you want to continue to learn in this coffee chat space, do not hesitate to suggest a topic in the comments below. We do read them, and we do get ideas from you all. So do not hesitate to tell us what you want, what you really, really want. And then we will really press into that and give you what you want. And if you want to connect with us, I mean, I'm pretty sure, isn't your Instagram handle Zara Miller Author?
Yeah, Zara Miller Author, yeah.
So don't hesitate to reach out to us, even though the comments will be a great place to reach out to us. You can reach out to Mackenzie, Finklea, and myself at the Instagram handles below. Another thing, you can also find the Instagram handles for all of our colleagues in the comments below. Another thing is, if you have been enjoying this content and you've been learning from us, do not hesitate to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and hit the bell so you'll know whenever we post. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. You guys are all incredible. Zara, you know you're awesome. You're aware.
You.
Like, I don't there are things that just don't need to be said. So Nem is incredible. It's just
Right
been
back at you.
Bye,